toward the scientific science citation index. So as I said, I had a long history with scientific texts, and this research started from. Does not work. Okay. So this research, so I just summarized the whole roadmap of my research in this domain. So I started I started to do like scientific knowledge extraction from the publications, and then I tried to find the evolutionary pathways of the scientific developments about a research domain, and the ultimate goal is an explorative academic search engine and also scientific text summarization as an assistive tool for researchers. I have published quite a lot in this area, most of them written by myself. This research started from a very initial study. This is called School of Thought. Sorry about the typo. Originated about 10 years ago when at the end of my PhD. And I wanted to develop a content discourse model to guide the scientific summarization or survey generation about research domain. And such type of content discourse model can include different types of information like topic, problem method, dataset, school of thought. And if we only look at the school of thought, this is about the technical routes adopted by different researchers to develop the scientific domain, which was proposed by the famous professor from Cambridge University. And I did research in two topics in my PhD. No, they are not NLP, but for example, for graph reachability index, we have two schools of thought, cover-based and hop-based. And if we look at the citation network, this was the citation network in my time as a PhD student. We cannot see the differences between these two. We cannot find these two school of thoughts easily, and we cannot know how the domain evolved. Actually, the papers are very densely cited, but a better representation of the domain development could be represented by the figure at the right-hand side, so which is more succinct, clearer. But how to do that? At that time, there was no solution. And actually, the first paper, academic paper, published on extracting the development pathways between scientific innovations was in 2020, and later published officially in a journal in 2021. So that at that time, 10 years ago, it was a very advanced cutting-edge research. And also at that time, a very famous AI research institute called Allen Institute for AI started to work on scientific knowledge mining, and they built a system called the Semantic Scholar, which you should always, I guess you probably know. Now a famous AI enhanced academic search engine. But at that time, I was hoping to develop a similar thing, but it was delayed quite a bit. But anyway, the purpose of my research was to extract such a network from the citation network, which can be used as a content discourse model or evolutionary discourse model to guide the scientific summarization. But one of the approach I adopted was called mean path analysis. This was proposed by information scientists in the scientometrics domain. And the approach contains two stages. The first stage is called search path counting, which calculates how many future papers are influenced by the previous papers through this citation link. And after search path counting, the mean passes can be extracted from the network based on the weights of search passes. So basically, yeah, this is the idea. If we want to calculate the search path count of this edge UV, then we need to calculate how many future papers are influenced by this citation link. So this is a very simple technique. Anyway, the result is very good. This is the min pass network extracted from a citation network about natural language parsing techniques. So I chose this domain to demonstrate because I'm quite familiar with natural language processing techniques. And I cannot go into the details, but I can simply show that the different branches of the network covers different stages of the development of this area. For example, at the beginning, the domain focused on graph formalisms, and later it started to have a probabilistic thinking about parsing technologies. And then, for example, branch 2.2, the Pentree Bank was a milestone, and future work all started from this paper, because this was really a milestone which guided the development of natural language parsing algorithms. And then the main body of the statistical approaches to natural language processing. And after that, the domain diverged into several directions. For example, for dependency parsing, for joint parsing, for multilingual parsing. Actually, this was very interesting, and this technique has been adopted by the researchers from the other domains. For example, I received a collaboration request from Maastricht University, the Law and the Technology Lab. They are using my techniques. So I am developing methods to help them analyze the case citation networks using this kind of technology. And they found some interesting development pathways, branches, which they couldn't find using the older methodologies. Now, there are also some problems with this technique. For example, long passes dominate. The passes from the paper in 1999 to 2005 was about 10 to 12. So that is not a very good phenomena. And this is because the search passes do not take into the citation semantics into consideration. For example, if we look at this triangle, the search passes of AC, BC is always larger than AC, because any pass that goes from A to C can also go from A to B to C. So the search pass count of B and C is always not smaller than the search pass of A and C. But if we look at the citation semantics, the passes from A to B and B to C is meaningless, less meaningful than the pass going from A to C, because the based on relationship is more important. So this is the second problem, called semantics agnostic. So to do that, I developed a wide range of citation context analysis models by taking consideration different modeling options for in-text citations, for the citation sentences, and for the citation context, and achieved a very good performance. And this was published in Cytometrics, and currently I'm also having a submission to information processing and management about ensembling methods for citation context analysis. And an important finding was that no single best model works for all, and some classes are easier to classify, and some classes are more difficult, like the based on relationships. And surprisingly, the weakness class is also very difficult to identify. The performance was very poor. And if we look at this, some methods are better at recall, some methods are better at precision, and some methods are better at F1. So how we do this, how we use the different classification models. So for each type of citation function, I decided to choose the best model to identify this type of function and develop different types of semantic citation networks by either adding a particular type of citation function to the network or by deleting some particular type of citation functions from the network in either a recall-oriented or precision-oriented way. And this approach generated a very different results. I just quickly go through this. Let me see what others we can find. Yeah, for example, no, not this one. This is less interesting. Yeah, for example, here we find a very large branch about semi-supervised learning methods for dependency parsing, which was not detected by the previous methods. And also we find another branch called semantic role labeling. And yeah, and using this type of semantic min-pass analysis on this type of semantic citation network, we find a new branch about multilingual dependency parsing, and we also found all these important shared tasks in this domain. And I want to emphasize that a natural language processing domain is a very specific domain, which is guided through by a range of important shared tasks. And a shared task usually opens up a new research subdirection of the domain. And yeah, so this is the shared task about multilingual, and this is the shared task about syntactic and semantic dependencies in multiple languages. So basically more different branches, and you see this is a branch about the Chinese tree bank. So a large portion of research started from this shared task on Chinese language. We all know that Chinese researchers contribute to like 30–40% of the scientific publications, and 20% of the population in the world are Chinese. So the Chinese language is a very big area in natural language processing, even in the United States. So it's very good to find this branch. Yeah, I'm running out of time. Now, we also proposed a three-angle quantitative evaluation framework. It was the first time the work can be quantitatively evaluated. So we calculated the topic coverage of the extracted min-pass network. This is the Hellinger distance between the min-pass network and the original citation network. The smaller the distance is, the better the topic coverage is. So we can see that if we add all these different types of citation functions, then the topic coverage of the network is significantly improved. And also topic coherence, which is the mean of the Hellinger distances between the min-pass nodes. And again, if we add all these three types of semantic citation networks, the topic coherence of the extracted network most of the time is slightly improved, at least. And also the ranking pertinence, I manually curated a list of gold standard papers for each area. And these gold standards were also used in my other research on scientific ranking. And anyway, we can see that if we combine all three different types of semantic citations, or if we use a different network by deleting the background citations and the future work citations, these are the meaningless citations, then the recall of the gold standard papers are significantly improved. However, the improvement may just come from the fact that the size of the network is much bigger than the original method. So, but anyway, if this is our approach is able to match a higher number of gold standard papers manually curated by the experts in the domain. And finally, how to extend that. So this is not the main purpose. The main purpose of this study is to develop a model that can succinctly describe the development pathways of a scientific domain. And our ultimate goal is to develop a survey, scientific survey generator. But towards this, we did some initial work about summarisation, related work summarisation using a particular type of relations called comparative relations. So we use the comparison relations between papers to define 3 scores for the importance of the sentences, the salience scores of the sentences, the commonality scores of the sentences, and the difference scores of sentences. And we want to increase the topic coverage of the related work summarisation. So this is why we want to define the difference score, because if one sentence has been selected as the summary sentence, then other similar sentences should be excluded. And we also defined the commonality score. That is because we want to increase the topic coherence of the related work summary, and also salience score, which is used for selecting the most important sentences. And we also created the first data set about related work summarization guided by comparative citations. And the performance was quite good compared to the previous methods, graph-based methods, if you look at just the figure. And from ablation study, we find that all 3 different scores contributed significantly to the quality of the generated summary. Sorry, I'm running out of time. And this is just an example of our generated summary. And the red underlined sentences or the clauses are the novel information that can be selected by our method, which covers the information that is missed by even the gold standard summary, which can well describe the particular merits of a paper and the differences between the papers to be summarized. That's all. Thank you very much. But currently we are also working towards this direction because I received a lot of requests from researchers of other domains to develop such a system to help them write, for example, the rationale section, the related work section in their scientific writing. For example, for proposal writing, for scientific paper writing, they needed such tools urgently because they write these documents frequently every year, and this takes a lot of time from their own research. So basically, this research originates from their request about such type of tool.